The accident that changed everything. Jay Carter never thought his normal day would end with an alien calling him her mate. He was just a maintenance engineer working on Mars Base 9. Nothing special. He fixed machines, checked systems, and followed orders. That day, his boss called him to inspect a crash site, an alien ship that had landed hard near the outer crater. No one else was available, and Jay was closest. The wreckage looked like a broken beast. Black metal bent in odd shades. Blue sparks popped from torn wires. Strange alien symbols glowed faintly along the side. Jay stood there for a moment, unsure. "Just check for fuel leaks and life signs," his boss said through the radio. Jay nodded, even though no one could see him. He stepped inside carefully. The air was thick and heavy, like walking through water. His boots crunched over broken glass and steel. Something beeped in the distance. Then he saw her, an alien woman, tall, strong, and unlike anything he had seen, lay slumped against the wall. Her silver armor was cracked. A long black braid hung over her shoulder. A strange horn, glowing faint blue, rose from her forehead. Jay froze. Was she alive? He moved closer, slowly, whispering, "Hey, are you okay?" She didn't answer. Her chest rose and fell. She was breathing. He took a deep breath and reached out to check for wounds. His hand brushed the horn by accident. It felt warm, alive. Suddenly, everything changed. A loud beep, beep, beep came from her wrist device. A red light flashed. A deep voice, cold and mechanical, spoke from the device. "By Law 47 of the Centauri Union, you are now bonded. Mating contract active. Do not break the seal." Jay's eyes widened. "Wait, what?" The alien woman stirred. Her eyes opened, sharp and silver, glowing slightly in the dim light. She looked directly at Jay. Her voice was low but clear. "You touched my horn," she said. "Why would you do that?" "I didn't mean to." Jay backed away. "I was trying to help." More beeping. The horn on her head glowed brighter. Her wrist device projected a hologram, strange alien symbols spinning in the air. "What is happening?" Jay whispered, panicking. Outside, Mars Base 9 picked up the signals. Within minutes, 2 squads of soldiers arrived. They aimed weapons at both Jay and the alien. "Step away from her," the commander shouted. But the alien stood up, even while injured. She moved in front of Jay, protecting him with her body. "Stand down," she ordered, her voice strong now. "He is my bonded mate. By your law or mine, you cannot harm him." The soldiers looked confused. One of them whispered to the commander, "She's a Centauri elite. We can't mess with this." Jay stood there, completely lost. Just 2 hours ago, he was fixing power lines. Now an alien warrior was defending him, and he was somehow married, mated, bonded. The base commander arrived, an older man with sharp eyes. He looked at Jay and the alien, then sighed. "Get them both to the medical wing," he said, "and find out what the hell just happened." Later that night, Jay sat on a medical bed, still in shock. Nurses had checked him. He was fine, physically, but nothing felt normal. The alien woman sat across from him, now in clean armor, still silent. After a long pause, she finally spoke. "My name is Commander Serica Veltar," she said. "I am a Centauri warrior. You touched my horn, which means, by law, we are now life-bonded." Jay laughed nervously. "There must be a mistake. I didn't know. It was an accident." She nodded. "Intent does not matter. The horn chooses. It accepted your touch. The bond is sealed." Jay looked down at his hands. "But I'm just a guy. I fix broken machines. I'm not a warrior." Serica tilted her head. "You must be something more. The horn does not choose without reason." Before he could reply, the door opened. A human officer walked in holding a tablet. "Mr. Carter," he said, "Sirius, Earth Command has been contacted. So has the Centauri Union. Until further notice, you are under observation. You are now part of an interspecies treaty. Congratulations. Jay blinked. This has to be a dream. Serica stood beside him, tall and calm. This is no dream, human. This is your new reality. The law of the horn. Jay Carter had been many things in life. A student, an engineer, a man who fixed broken machines on distant planets. But now, for the first time, he was something else entirely. A mate. According to alien law, he sat in the large white room inside Mars Base 9's diplomatic wing. The walls were cold and smooth like hospital glass. 3 lights blinked above him. Cameras watched every move. A translator drone hovered near his head. Across from him sat 2 officials, 1 human, 1 alien. The human was Commander Ellis, older and stern, with short gray hair and sharp eyes. The alien was a tall Centauri elder with violet skin, long robes, and no horn, only a glowing jewel embedded in her neck. "You have touched the sacred horn of Commander Serica Veltar," said the elder in calm, slow words. "Do you understand the meaning of this act in Centauri law?" Jay shook his head. "No, I didn't mean anything. I was just helping." She was hurt. The translator drone repeated his words in smooth Centauri language. The elder leaned forward. "Ignorance does not remove responsibility. On Centauri worlds, the horn is not for decoration. It is a living part of us. Only a chosen partner may touch it. Doing so begins the bond of souls." Jay looked down at his hands. They looked the same, but nothing felt the same anymore. Commander Ellis crossed his arms. "And this bond, what does it mean, exactly?" The elder replied, "It is not marriage in your human way. It is deeper. It is a soul mark, a life tie. The 2 become one in energy. Thoughts, feelings, sometimes even pain, can be shared." Jay's heart sank. "So now I'm tied to her forever." "In some way, yes," the elder said, "unless the bond is broken, which is rare and dangerous." Jay felt the air shift. "Dangerous? How?" The elder hesitated. "The horn chooses only those with high soul potential. The bond is sacred. If broken too early, it may harm both parties, physically or mentally. Some do not survive." Jay swallowed hard. This couldn't be real. At that moment, the door opened. Serica entered. She wore fresh armor, her dark braid tucked neatly behind her back. Her silver eyes scanned the room. Without asking, she walked to Jay's side and stood behind him. Commander Ellis raised an eyebrow. "You 2 are very close." "She is drawn to me," Jay muttered, "because of the bond." Serica finally spoke. "It is more than that. I feel when you are afraid. I feel it in my chest. I know you are confused, but I will not let anyone harm you." Jay turned to her. "Why? We just met." She didn't blink. "Because your touch awakened the horn. That means your spirit is compatible with mine. In our world, that only happens once in a lifetime, maybe less." Jay felt dizzy. Serica placed a hand on his shoulder, gently. Her voice softened. "I did not choose this, but I do not run from fate." Commander Ellis cleared his throat. "This situation is already causing waves. The Centauri government has demanded that we honor their law. Earth Command is unsure what to do. Your bond is now a political issue." Jay stood up, angry. "So I'm a political tool now? A science experiment?" "No," Serica said. "You are a soul match. That cannot be faked, not even by politics." Commander Ellis sighed. "You will be given 72 hours. During this time, you will stay together, under watch, learn what this bond truly is. After that, Earth and Centauri leaders will decide what happens next." Jay looked at Serica. She looked back. He didn't know whether to scream or run or laugh. But deep inside, something strange was happening. When she stood near him, his heart didn't race out of fear. It felt steady, grounded, like she was shielding him from something even bigger. Later that night, Jay walked beside Serica inside the diplomatic dome. 2 guards followed at a distance. He broke the silence. "Do you miss your home?" "Yes," she said, "but I would not return without purpose. My people expect strength. Emotion is not weakness, but it is not shown." He glanced at her. "So why are you telling me this?" She paused. "Because I can feel your thoughts. You are kind, honest. You fear hurting me more than you fear being hurt." Jay stopped walking. "I'm no warrior." She looked at him with calm intensity. "You do not need weapons to be strong." Suddenly, both of them froze. A strange sound echoed through the dome, like metal scraping against stone. A chill swept through the hallway. The guards drew their weapons. "Who's there?" one of them shouted. From the shadows, a small drone hovered into view. It projected a message in red light. "The bond must not complete. End it now, or all of Earth will suffer." Jay stared at the message, then at Serica. She narrowed her eyes. "Someone fears what we might become." Training with a warrior mate. Jay Carter had never left Earth's solar system. Until now. 2 days after the bond was formed, he was escorted aboard a massive Centauri cruiser orbiting just beyond Mars. It was the size of a small city, with smooth curved walls, glowing blue corridors, and alien beings that moved like silent shadows. They called it Vel Arun, meaning home of the chosen. He wasn't here for a tour. He was here to learn what the bond truly meant. Commander Serica Veltar walked beside him through the shining halls. She no longer wore her battle armor, but a training suit made of something like silver silk. It moved with her like a second skin. Her horn now glowed faintly every time she stood near him. Jay kept glancing at her. "So, what now? Are we just married in space?" Serica gave him a sideways look. "You joke. That is a human defense, but this is not a joke." Jay sighed. "I know. It's just hard to believe. My biggest problem last week was fixing broken solar panels. Now I'm bonded to a warrior from a species I barely understand." Serica stopped in front of a large door. "You must understand if you wish to survive." The doors opened. Inside was a massive training chamber, floating platforms, holographic targets, energy weapons lined along the walls. Other Centauri warriors stood in silence, their eyes following Jay. A tall male stepped forward. His face was sharp, and 2 horns curled back from his head. He looked at Serica, then Jay. "This is the human?" he asked, unimpressed. "Yes," Serica said. "He will train, as I did." The male warrior scoffed. "He looks soft." Serica's voice grew cold. "So did I. Until I proved myself." The warrior raised an eyebrow, then turned to Jay. "Then let's see what your soul is made of." The training begins. For hours, Jay trained. He learned to dodge, to breathe with intention, to move with focus. At first, he failed every challenge. He fell off platforms, missed targets, tripped over his own feet. The other warriors laughed quietly, but Serica never did. She stood near him, calm, patient. She adjusted his stance, corrected his breathing, and whispered advice in his ear. "You are not weak," she said once, when he lay flat on the ground after a hard fall. "You are just untested." Each time Jay rose again. As the sun of a nearby star passed over the cruiser's sky dome, something strange happened. Jay's movements began to improve. His balance sharpened. His instincts kicked in. And without warning, he struck a holographic enemy with such speed that it flickered and vanished. Everyone stopped. Even Serica tilted her head slightly. "You felt it, didn't you?" she asked softly. Jay nodded. "It was like I wasn't alone." Serica stepped closer. "That is the bond. Our spirits are starting to align. When we are near, your strength becomes my strength, and mine becomes yours." Jay blinked. "That's Insane. It is Centauri law, she said, and something more ancient than law. Ambush in the dark sector. After training, they were sent on a simple scouting mission, or so they were told. A small asteroid field known as the Dark Sector had recently become active with strange signals. Jay, Serica, and 2 other warriors boarded a small stealth ship. Inside the ship, Jay sat across from Serica in the cockpit. The silence between them wasn't awkward anymore. It was familiar, like the calm before a storm. As they entered the dark zone, alarms began to chirp. The Centauri pilot narrowed his eyes. Something's here. And then, they were hit. The ship rocked violently. Red lights flashed. From the blackness of space, strange ships emerged, thin, jagged, and without markings. Pirates, Jay asked, gripping the side panel. Serica growled. Worse, scavengers. They don't take prisoners. The ship was pulled into a magnetic snare. The engine died. Serica turned to Jay, calm but firm. Stay behind me, no matter what. They exited into a hollow asteroid hangar, dark, full of rusted wrecks and shadows. Scavenger creatures emerged, tall and insect-like, hissing with joy. Serica moved fast. Her blade cut through the air like fire. Jay ducked, rolled, and tried to follow. He wasn't ready for real battle, but his instincts kept pulling him toward her. Then, one of the scavengers sliced into Serica's side. She cried out, and Jay screamed. Not from fear, from pain. His side burned. He looked down. There was no cut, no blood. But he felt exactly what she felt. Her injury pulsed inside him. He crawled to her, grabbed her wrist. We have to get out of here. Their bond flared. Suddenly, her eyes flashed with blue light. Energy pulsed from her horn. The scavengers shrieked and scattered as the air around them crackled. Together, they stumbled back to the ship and launched into space. Aftermath. In the medical chamber, Serica lay in silence while a healer worked on her wound. Jay sat beside her, pale and shaken. I felt your pain, he whispered. She looked at him weakly. The bond has awakened. It is no longer passive. Now, we are truly linked. Jay shook his head slowly. This isn't just about politics. Someone sent us there on purpose. That was no accident. Serica's hand reached for his. You are right. We are being hunted. And whoever is behind it fears what we might become. Jay looked down at their joined hands, his human skin against her alien one. In that moment, he didn't feel alone. The hidden truth about the bond. Jay Carter woke up in silence. He was in a soft, glowing room aboard the Centauri cruiser. The walls shimmered gently, changing color with the light outside. Serica was asleep nearby, her breathing slow but steady. A clear patch covered her side where the scavenger's blade had cut her. She looked peaceful now, almost human in the soft light. But Jay wasn't at peace. He remembered the moment too clearly. The burning pain that wasn't his. The panic, the fear, and the strange flash of energy that had saved them both. He sat up, touched his own side, still amazed there was no wound. He'd felt everything she felt, not just physically, but emotionally. The pain, the fear, the strength. This was no ordinary bond. Something deeper was happening, and he needed answers. The secret within the horn. Later that day, Jay followed a quiet Centauri medic named Drineth to a hidden chamber below the cruiser's core. Drineth was older, his skin pale blue, his movements slow and respectful. He said he had something to show Jay, something Serica didn't yet know. They entered a room filled with glowing crystal mirrors and a floating orb in the center. Drineth motioned for Jay to stand before the orb. This is the soul archive, Drineth said. It holds ancient memories from our people, recorded in the resonance of horned warriors. Jay frowned. You mean memories from other bonded pairs? Drineth nodded. Not just memories. Warnings. Truths that were hidden. Jay hesitated, then stepped forward. The orb glowed. Suddenly, images flooded the room. A Centauri female, her horn glowing just like Syracuse, stood beside a human-looking man in armor. They fought together, cried together, laughed. Then, in a burst of light, they were torn apart. The horn shattered. The man screamed. Jay stepped back in shock. What was that? Drenith's voice was calm. That was the first human-Centauri bond, thousands of years ago. Jay turned slowly. Wait, you've met humans before. Drenith nodded solemnly. Only once. In the ancient wars, a single human made contact with a dying Centauri warrior. He touched her horn, just like you. The bond formed, but it was too powerful, too unstable. Jay's heart raced. What happened to them? The human died when her horn was destroyed, Drenith said, because their souls had merged. And the Centauri burned half a planet in her grief. Jay swallowed hard. Why wasn't this told to Serica? Because our leaders buried the truth. They feared the bond was too dangerous, too unpredictable. But now it has happened again. Jay stood in silence. The room felt colder. So what am I? He asked. A threat? A weapon? You are something new, Drenith replied. Something the galaxy is not ready for, and someone is trying to stop your bond before it reaches its full power. Jay felt the truth settle deep in his chest. The conspiracy unfolds. That night, Jay returned to Serica's side. She was awake now, sipping from a glowing cup. Her wound had healed faster than expected. I felt you, she said softly. You were afraid. Jay sat beside her. There's something you need to know. Your people, they're hiding something about the bond. He told her everything. The soul archive, the lost human, the death. The planet burned in sorrow. Serica stayed silent, her face unreadable, but her horn began to glow. I always felt there was more to the bond, she whispered, but no one would speak of it. Now I understand why they fear it. Jay leaned forward. Someone tried to kill us in the dark sector. That wasn't random. It was a setup. Serica nodded. Then we must find out who. They left the chamber together. No longer just two individuals caught in an accident. Now they were partners, searching for truth. The message from the wreckage. Back on Mars Base 9, their old ship, the one Jay had found Serica in, was being held in lockdown storage. Jay convinced the humans to give him access for technical reasons. Serica joined him, silent but alert. Inside the ship, it was darker than he remembered. Burned panels, blood stains, and something else, a small metal object jammed beneath the pilot's seat. Jay pulled it out. It was a data shard, marked with a red spiral symbol. What is this? He asked. Serica took it. Her eyes narrowed. This is a war code, used only by the Black Circle. Who are they? A secret division of the Centauri military, believed to be extinct. Assassins, manipulators, engineers of fear. Jay stared at the shard. So your crash wasn't an accident? No, Serica whispered. They wanted me dead. And the bond, never to exist. Jay took a step back. That means they're still watching us. Serica nodded. And they will strike again. The warning comes too late. That night, as the Centauri cruiser passed behind Jupiter's moons, a strange pulse cut through its energy field. All lights flickered. Jay rushed to the window, watching a black, angular ship materialize in the distance. Serica appeared beside him. That's not one of ours. Suddenly, a broadcast filled the chamber. A shadowy figure spoke in a distorted voice. You should not have formed the bond. You were warned. Now you will be erased. Jay turned to Serica. We're not safe here. No, she replied. But we're no longer weak either. Betrayal on both sides. Jay Carter stood near the edge of the observation deck as the massive Centauri cruiser hovered behind Jupiter's moons. Beyond the glass, the stars felt closer and brighter, but something inside him was getting darker. The memory of the warning still echoed in his head. You should not have formed the bond. You were warned. Now you will be erased. Whoever they were, they knew everything. They had tried once in the dark sector. They had failed. But Jay knew they'd try again. And this time, they might succeed. Earth's offer: break the bond. Back on Mars Base 9, Earth Command had picked up the same transmission. Leaders were panicking. Talks between Earth and the Centauri Union were collapsing. Fear had taken over. Jay and Serica were called back to base. In a sealed chamber, Commander Ellis met them personally. He looked tired, angry, and afraid. You need to listen to me, Carter, he said. This bond, it's not just dangerous. It's political poison. You've become the target of something bigger than both our worlds. Jay leaned forward. We didn't choose this. The bond chose us. Ellis didn't blink. I don't care how it started. What matters is that it's tearing everything apart. He pressed a button, and a metal case slid forward on the table. We've received a device from a Centauri faction, an off-the-record offer. They say this can break the bond without harming you. But it must be done now, before your souls fully merge. Jay stared at the case. What happens to her if I use it? He asked slowly. Ellis hesitated. It might affect her more than you. Jay clenched his jaw. So it's not safe. It's the best option we have, Ellis replied. Unless you want war. Serica stood beside Jay, quiet, watching. You knew they'd try this, she said to him. Jay looked at her. And you. I felt it coming, she whispered. Your people would rather break what they don't understand than learn to live with it. Jay turned back to Ellis. What if I refuse? Then we can't protect you, Ellis said coldly. Or her. You'll be on your own. Centauri pressure and silent threats. Later, Jay and Serica were summoned by a Centauri ambassador on the cruiser. This time, it wasn't polite conversation. The ambassador, a tall, violet-skinned figure with gold markings, spoke with icy calm. You are no longer just individuals, he said. You are symbols, and symbols must be controlled. Jay raised an eyebrow. Controlled how? The ambassador's eyes narrowed. Your bond has begun to awaken ancient energies, energy that hasn't been seen in thousands of years. That makes you dangerous to those who benefit from silence. Serica stepped forward. You mean the Black Circle? The ambassador didn't deny it. Jay frowned. So what? You want to break the bond too? No, the ambassador said. We want to use it. Train it. Turn it into something we can control. Jay's fists tightened. You're not better than the humans. No one is, the ambassador said. That is the point. As they left, Jay could feel it. Betrayal on both sides. Neither Earth nor the Centauri truly supported them. They were a threat, a tool, or a liability. Never partners. Never equals. Whispers between hearts. Back in their quarters, Serica sat beside Jay in silence. The tension between them was thick, but beneath it, something softer stirred. I don't know who to trust anymore, Jay said quietly. Serica looked down. You can trust me. Jay nodded. I do. That's the problem. She looked at him. Why is that a problem? Because I feel everything you feel, Jay said, voice low. When you're angry, I burn. When you're hurt, I ache. And when you're near, I don't want to lose you. Serica didn't answer at first. Then she reached out and took his hand. We were chosen, she said. Maybe not by law, not by leaders, but by something older. Jay met her eyes. Then we have to fight for it. Together. The backstab. A trusted ally turns. The next day, Jay met secretly with Drenith, the old Centauri healer who had first shown him the soul archive. Jay trusted him. Drenith had always been calm, kind, and honest. But this time, something felt off. Jay entered the archive chamber. Drenith was already there. The orb glowed again, ready to show more visions. "I need to understand more," Jay said. "Why us? Why now?" Drenith nodded slowly. "There is more, but it is hidden deep." Jay stepped forward. Suddenly, pain shot through his chest, like fire under his ribs. He dropped to one knee. Behind him, Drenith held a small black device, glowing red. "You were never supposed to survive the bond," he said. "Serica was the weapon. You were just the fuse." Jay gritted his teeth. "Why, you?" "I serve the Circle," Drenith said coldly. "And I protect the galaxy from what you two are becoming." But before he could activate the device again, Serica burst into the chamber, her horn blazing. She moved like a storm. In seconds, Drenith was pinned to the wall, gasping for air. "You dare touch what is mine," she growled. She crushed the device in her hand. The energy inside sparked and died. Jay coughed, sitting up. "I trusted him." "I know," Serica said, kneeling beside him. "That is how betrayal always works. Together, or not at all." Jay sat in the healing chamber that night, feeling the dull ache fade. Serica sat beside him, silent but steady. "We're not safe anywhere," he said. "No," she agreed. "Then we run." "No," she said. "We fight." Jay smiled weakly. "Didn't think I'd ever say this, but I'm ready." Serica looked at him with a softness that didn't belong to warriors. "You are no longer just human, and I am no longer just Centauri. We are something new." Outside the window, stars passed slowly by, and somewhere beyond those stars, their enemies waited. But Jay and Serica, bonded by fate, tested by betrayal, were no longer afraid. Because now, they had nothing left to lose. The awakening of the horn. Jay Carter lay unconscious, floating in a medical chamber filled with golden healing light. Machines hummed softly. His body was still, but his mind was anything but quiet. Inside him, something was changing. He drifted through a dreamscape, shifting light, ancient stars, and a voice calling him from far away. "Jay, wake up. I need you." The voice was Serica's, but it didn't come from outside. It came from inside his own thoughts. He turned in the dream, searching through fog and colors. Then from the glowing mist, she appeared, barefoot, her horn pulsing with blue fire. "You are not just human anymore," she said. "You carry part of me, and I carry part of you." Jay looked at his hands. Light flowed through his veins. His chest glowed faintly, the same color as her horn. "What's happening to me?" he whispered. Serica reached out and placed her hand on his chest. "The bond is awakening, fully, and when it does, the galaxy will never be the same." In the waking world, outside the healing pod, Serica stood beside Jay's chamber. Her armor was scorched from battle. Her side still bled faintly where she'd taken another wound, saving him from Drenith's betrayal. But she didn't rest. She didn't blink. She simply stood there, watching, waiting, her horn now brighter than ever before, its glow pulsing with a strange rhythm. Other Centauri warriors walked by, whispering. Some were afraid. Others stared in awe. The legend of the horn-bonded, once thought myth, was coming to life before their eyes. A medic approached Serica cautiously. "His body is stable, but something inside him is shifting. We don't understand it." "I do," Serica said softly. "He is becoming something our people forgot existed." The shared past. Inside the dreamscape, Jay saw flashes of Serica's life. Her childhood, trained in a brutal academy, never allowed to cry, taught to kill with silence. Her pain, losing her sister to war, hiding her emotions, pretending she was unbreakable. Her secret, whispers about a prophecy that one day a warrior would bond with an outsider and awaken the old flame inside the horn. Jay saw it all, felt it all. And then, he saw something more. He saw her memory of the crash. It wasn't an accident. She had discovered plans to use the bonding law as a weapon, forcing bonds with other species to gain control of entire systems. She tried to stop it. She tried to escape. And someone fired on her ship. Jay woke with a gasp. The healing chamber drained. He stumbled out, heart pounding, lungs on fire. Serica caught him. "You saw it," she said. "Didn't you?" Jay nodded. "They wanted to control the bond, not honor it. And when you said no, they tried to erase you." She looked at him, not surprised, not shocked, just sad. "Yes," she said, "but now it's too late for them. Because we're still here. Power they can't control." Jay could feel it now, the energy in his bones. His heartbeat synced with Serica's. Their thoughts brushed against each other, soft as wind. When he raised his hand, light followed his fingers. "What is this?" he asked. Serica stepped back and raised her own hand. A similar light danced from her fingertips. Then the two lights joined between them, forming a ribbon of glowing energy in the air. "The awakened horn," she said. "It allows us to share more than just emotion. We can share strength, knowledge, and even will." Jay stared. "This is why they fear us." "Yes," she said, "because this power cannot be taken. It must be earned. Through truth. Through trust." Jay smiled weakly. "And we're not exactly the trusting types." Serica chuckled, a sound so rare, even she seemed surprised by it. "No," she said, "but somehow, we trusted each other anyway." A call from the shadows. The peace didn't last long. Just before midnight cycle, an urgent transmission reached the cruiser. The Earth base on Mars had been attacked, but not by aliens. By humans, a rogue unit within Earth's military, known only by code, Black Ember. They had stolen the bond-breaking device, and now they were threatening to use it on Jay, whether he agreed or not. The decision. Jay sat alone on the cruiser's deck, staring at the red swirl of Jupiter far below. "They want to cut the bond," he whispered. "Not just break it. Cut it. Like a wire. Like it's nothing." Serica stood beside him. "If they do that, it could tear you apart. Your mind. Your spirit." Jay didn't speak for a moment. Then he looked at her, really looked. "You'd fight them for me, wouldn't you?" Serica nodded without hesitation. "I'd fight an entire galaxy for you." Jay's voice cracked. "Even if it meant losing your honor." "I already lost it the day I refused their war," she said. "But I gained something else." Jay touched her horn gently. This time, not by accident. Her whole body shivered. The rhythm of energy formed again. Only now, it burned brighter than ever before. "We're going to stop them," Jay said. "Together. Not just to save us, but to prove that what we are is not a threat." "No," Serica said softly. "It's a future. Bound by fate, forged in battle." Jay Carter never thought he'd be preparing for war. Not as a soldier. Not even with a weapon. But now, he was standing on the bridge of a Xentari war cruiser, watching Earth's forces prepare to strike. The bond had fully awakened. His chest pulsed with light. The same light flowed through Serica's horn. Their connection was no longer a mystery or a burden. It was their weapon. But it had also made them a threat. To Earth. To the Centauri High Council. To anyone who feared what they couldn't control. The final transmission. A dark screen lit up on the bridge. General Hallstrom, Earth's highest-ranking official in the outer colonies, stared coldly from across space. "You will surrender Jay Carter immediately," he said. "He is carrying unstable alien energy. This bond cannot be allowed to spread." Commander Ellis stood behind him, looking uneasy but silent. Jay stepped forward. "You mean you can't own it? So you'd rather destroy it?" Hallstrom didn't blink. "The device is ready. One activation will sever the bond. If you do not comply, we'll launch it remotely." Serica appeared beside Jay, calm but fierce. If you try, I will retaliate. Not as a warrior, as a bonded one. Jay added, and you don't understand what the bond will do if it's broken by force. It could kill both of us. Hallstrom's eyes narrowed. That is your risk. You have 1 hour. The screen went dark. Serica's choice. In a quiet chamber, Jay and Serica sat across from each other. No armor, no guards. Just two souls who never asked for any of this. If this goes wrong, Jay said, voice low, I want you to survive. You hear me? I want you to leave. Let them think they've won. Serica shook her head. No. Serica. She leaned forward and touched his chest. I chose this bond the moment it responded to you, not by accident, by instinct. You reached me when no one else ever did. Jay tried to speak, but emotion choked his voice. If we die, Serica continued, we die with honor. Together. That is not weakness. That is the strongest thing I've ever known. Jay finally whispered, then let's show them. The infiltration. But before Earth's fleet could strike, something unexpected happened. A small ship detached from the Centauri cruiser, a stealth unit piloted by Serica's old ally, Tarnvox, a rebel who had once warned Serica about the Black Circle. Jay, Serica, he said through comms, we found where the bond breaker is being powered. A hidden base beneath Mars Base 9. But it's guarded. You'll need to go down yourselves. Jay nodded. Then we go. Together, they boarded the stealth ship and entered Mars' atmosphere under a cloaking field. The red planet loomed below, dust storms swirling like ancient spirits. They landed near the edge of the old colony. Jay looked at the dry wasteland and whispered, feels like this is where it all began. Serica replied, then it's where we ended. The final battle. Inside the underground facility, the air was cold and sharp. Jay and Serica moved like one. Their bond now worked in perfect rhythm. Each step matched, each breath shared. Their energy pulsed between them like a living current. Then, the ambush came. Dozens of armored soldiers surrounded them. Drones buzzed overhead, and at the center stood General Hallstrom, holding a black device pulsing with red light. This ends now, he said. You had a choice. You made the wrong one. Jay shouted, you don't understand what this bond really is. It's not just emotion, it's evolution. Serica stepped forward. And evolution doesn't ask for permission. Hallstrom activated the device. A pulse of red energy surged toward them. Jay and Serica screamed, but instead of breaking the bond, it did something else. It triggered the final stage. Their bodies glowed with blinding light. The bond didn't shatter, it transformed. Serica's horn flared with power. Jay's hands radiated energy. The device melted in Hallstrom's hands. Then, with a wave of light, the bond burst outward, disarming soldiers, shorting drones, and freezing everyone in place. Only Jay and Serica remained standing. The silence after. The entire chamber was quiet. Still, not a weapon moved. Jay helped Serica to her feet. It worked, he said. I don't know how, but it worked. She smiled weakly. The bond wasn't meant to be controlled. It was meant to be honored. One soldier dropped his weapon and stepped back. Then another. Then another. General Hallstrom sat on the ground, stunned, whispering, What are you? Jay looked around. Something new, he said. 1 month later. The galaxy didn't change overnight, but it began. Jay and Serica became the first official interspecies bonded pair recognized by both Earth and the Centauri Union. Their story was broadcast across colonies. Many feared it, but some believed it could lead to peace. Jay wasn't a soldier. He never became one. But he became something greater. A bridge. Final scene. On a quiet moon orbiting a peaceful planet, Jay and Serica stood watching stars drift slowly across the sky. You ever miss the silence? Jay asked. Serica smiled. You never stop talking. But no, I don't miss it. Jay chuckled. So, what happens now? Serica turned, touched his chest. Now, we live, and we protect this bond, because it may be the only thing left that still matters. Jay took her hand. Not maybe. It is. They stood beneath the stars, bound by fate, forged in battle, and ready for whatever came next.